today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
Welcome to episode 99 of Shop Talk. It's a great week to be a fan of The Rookie because our show is finally back after what feels like forever. And it's so good to have our faves back, have new episodes, have content being shared. We've had so much content being dropped. Yes, between like yesterday to today, Wednesday when we're recording this, but also like before this week too. So
Yeah.
this episode was intense though, and we also knew that the cliffhanger was spoiled a little bit, so because everyone and even the rookie account had spoiled it. So
Listen,
abs-
I was still like, they're gonna pull something. I was like, nope, they can't.
yeah.
Um, I at least just thought, well, I kind of had forgotten about the time jump because I was like, oh, at least they're gonna show him,
Yeah.
um, working his way back or something. But then it was just like 6 weeks later, I was like, okay, never mind.
To me, the time jump seemed very short. Like
Oh yeah, I
only
mean
six weeks.
that's not too long.
Yeah, but like other shows have done like 6 months. So I was kind of like 6 weeks. I don't know. I have thoughts on that later. But yeah, and I mean, even just the way that it started, like it was very interesting how it went from
Hmm.
like 97 minutes earlier. I was like, that is very specific.
Yeah.
97 minutes earlier.
I was so confused when I was like starting and I was like, am I sure I'm watching the right show? Like, what is going
Yeah,
on?
yeah,
But then it all came full circle and made sense.
yeah, yeah.
So,
But the episode set us up for the rest of the season. I mean, I feel like at least with the
mhm.
Chenford angst, Lucy's detective's exam, the case, because there's no way that that's over yet. Like
Nope.
it's not that easy. Aaron's journey to with getting back to the job, which I will be very interested to see. And
Mhm.
then Angela missing the baby, like how she's gonna navigate that and etc. So
Yeah.
yeah. We have quite a bit of news, so we could just jump right into that because my goodness. The rookie account or the rookie cast and crew and entertainment outlets were just like, here you go, have it all. Do you
Hmm.
want to start us off with the first piece of news?
Sure. Alexi had said to um TV Line in an article, um, that it's gonna be a dynamic year um for Chenford um after 601. And
Hmm.
the for the 100th episode, he kind of alluded to that there's some stuff that, everyone's gonna love. Apparently there's a blink and you'll miss it visual that according to him will launch at 1,000 gifts. Um and so they still like want to balance that with the drama as well. Um and he also said about like the mastermind behind the major case from the premiere
Hmm.
is that it'll be something that they'll be getting towards during the end of the season. And apparently Monica is involved in a certain extent. Um, and so this kind of sets up her character in a way that obviously we've never seen before.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm very curious as to who she was talking to at the end,
mhm.
but I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. What do you think is going to be the blink and you miss it moment for Chenford?
I literally don't even know because like I don't know. Because, like,
Hmm.
what? I mean, is it like something? Oh, God, I don't know.
Is it something that we've never seen before? Like,
Yeah,
I
like, I
don't feel
don't.
like it'll be a kiss or like a
I mean,
hug.
yeah, because we've already, like, we've seen that in the preview or,
Yeah.
trailers and things. I don't know.
I don't know what else they could do.
Maybe they like whisper something to each other or like, like, um, like say what the
Hmm.
heck's the word? Oh, mouth the words. That's the word I'm looking for. Like,
Maybe
I don't
it's like the I love you,
know.
but I feel like that wouldn't be a blink and you miss it thing.
I don't know. Because I feel
Like,
like the lie detector thing is like a fake out. So like I don't really know.
mm,
But that's just
okay.
me probably being cynical. I don't know. Um, but I have absolutely no idea what the blink and
Yeah,
you'll miss it could be. So unless Kojo appears magically, I don't really know what
maybe.
we haven't seen with Chenford yet.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting. The only thing I can think of is like maybe Tim does some like different type of physical touch thing. I don't know. I don't know, but I am so excited for next week. So I'm
Hmm.
just I'm just happy to have them back. So
Yeah,
but we did also get a TV Insider article today with Melissa and Eric talking about Chenford. And Melissa was like, Chenford fans are incredible and credits Eric for the original hashtag idea, which I saw someone then point out on Twitter. They were like, technically he came up with, or technically they came up with 2C, and
yeah.
we asked for Chenford.
Hmm.
And it was apparently in response to Alyssa and Titus's partner duo nickname. So Eric and Melissa were like, well, we're gonna have one too. I wasn't on the tw or in the Twitter fandom when all this was happening, so I don't know.
I was not either.
But when I was like watching the video, I was like, wait, what was Alyssa and Titus's duo name?
I
Like I
know
could not remember. I
it's
was
like
like, it wasn't
West and
Lopez.
well, see that's the thing though, is I really don't know. Because
I remember
like
people going back and forth with like Westlow, Lopez. We were there
yeah.
for that.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Like maybe like West Low or something as opposed to
Hmm.
like, but I really don't know. I couldn't find I was like literally looking it up.
I saw
Um,
someone say Westlow
and I couldn't.
was the name. It was like Westlow or Lopez. And then somehow we just decided on Lopez. I don't know, but I was
Well,
just
yeah,
like,
but then
no.
that's for Sean and Alyssa's characters, like not for Titus and
Right.
Alyssa. Like,
But
so I
like it
don't really
was,
understand.
I think it was before Sean and Alyssa's characters were like really getting a ship name or something. But I was just like, wow, why can't I remember that? But uh, um, and then Eric said that the fans saw the direction of Chenford, the direction Chenford was going even before they did. And that the show's kind of like paid homage to that. And then Melissa also said that Tim and Lucy can handle whatever's thrown at them. There's banter, realness, and honesty in their relationship. So you heard it from the Chenford captains that Chenford will make it through.
Hmm.
But
And then we also had a different TV line article. Um, and it had said like that the curse of the last shift storyline was brought up by staff writer Frederick Cotto, who was a police officer for 18 years. So that's where that storyline came from. And we had Selena being as superstitious as she is, keeps bringing it up, and Nolan doesn't really believe in it, but then everything goes wrong.
mhm,
And for the 100th episode, Alexi wants to touch on everything they do tonally, which they get to do, and um, Falula Borg is brought back in as Skip Tracer Randy. So that's pretty cool. And Chastity, if I'm not wrong, based on the
yeah.
promo photos,
Which
which
like I have to ask, where's Henry? His
I have to
son.
ask, where's Pete? Well, yeah, where's Henry? But like, where's Pete? Because like Pete and Chastity were a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the promo photos, it looks like they're like dancing, which
I mean, they
they
could
would
just
be a
be
very
friends, but
interesting
like,
pairing. Let's be
yeah,
real.
it would be very interesting. Um, yeah,
I mean, I
but
I would assume that
yeah,
they just couldn't get Pete Davidson, but like, yeah, where's Henry? Where's his
yeah, I
actual
don't know.
son?
I don't know. Because someone had pointed out, I saw on Twitter somewhere that
Abigail is
yeah, that
back, yeah.
yeah, in some way. And so yeah,
Hmm.
that's the question. Where the heck is Henry? I hope another one of my wish list items is not dashed
Yeah.
because I kind of figured he would be there. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it is his dad's second wedding.
Yeah, but like he can actually be at this one.
That's true.
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But maybe he just couldn't get time off work or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe he'll make a surprise appearance because we didn't see any Bailey in the promo pics. Granted, because she's probably got the wedding dress on. Well, no, we did see her in the pictures, but like not at the actual wedding. So maybe
Yeah.
he'll make a surprise appearance. Who knows?
Hmm.
But anyway, back to the TV line article because there was a lot in here.
Yeah. So Angela is obviously coming back from having her baby girl, and so childcare is gonna come into play for her and for Nyla. They don't want to, shy away from what being a working parent is like, especially a working mom in the first responder world. So we will see how Harper navigates that, um, as well as Angela, because both of them are not exactly too keen on people helping them at times.
Hmm.
So uh, that'll be interesting to see. And apparently there will be a ride along with a nanny candidate in the back seat of a shop. So that'll definitely be something to
Yeah.
look out for.
What's interesting is why they didn't play the storyline when Angela first had Jack. Like, why are we waiting until their second child to play this out? Maybe because Wesley's like actually going to go back to work. Or I
Um,
think they might have had like a nanny before, but I don't know. It just seems like why are we focusing on this now? Maybe their nanny previously like quit or something, but
I mean, I was just assuming it was because like Nyla and Angela's
babies
children
are
are,
close.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas before, obviously Jack and Lila are not
Hmm.
um close in age. So I don't know, or like second kid,
Yeah.
you know, problems or something. I don't know.
Like it costs more or something like that. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
it was interesting to me. Like, okay,
Hmm.
are we
Yeah.
forgetting that she had a baby previously? But
Hmm. Yeah.
anyway.
Probably just touching on different points of
Hmm.
being a working mom, just because, I mean, we had the, formula mishap with the fridge and
Yeah.
stuff in season 4 for Angela. And then, I mean, we got to see Harper, have Leah in like last season.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know, maybe it's just kind of like they both can have the storyline together or something instead of
Yeah.
separately.
True. True.
Um, yeah.
All right.
But um apparently also for Nyla, she goes through something following the shooting from this premiere episode. It's not played out for a long time, but they um find dramatic moments in every episode for the characters too. So, and for Lucy, the detective's exam will happen. I thought it was so funny, not funny, like, but because I think it was Eric who had mentioned something about, like hypothetically the detective's exam or something when talking about like Lucy's character. And I was
Hmm.
just like, of course he did. Like, because I don't think it was,
It was
like,
supposed to be spoiled.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so but then I think Alexi around the same time had also mentioned it. So it's kind
Hmm.
of, at least we know it's definitely happening.
Yeah.
Um, and it's, ultimately about that drive to become a detective, especially an undercover one.
Hmm.
Um, and it's, all while having, Lieutenant Prim trying to kind of sabotage uh, her because of the trade to get Tim to Metro.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Um, and then for John, aside from the wedding, he will go through some things with and without Bailey. There's going to be some drama on the home front, apparently. Um, Even though Jenna's pregnancy won't be featured in the season, which we talked about before, there will be conversations about, the idea of if they're going to have kids, um, independent of Jenna actually being pregnant. So, and they only have 10 episodes to tell all these stories. So it, is a little bit more serialized. That doesn't mean they're not standalones and they won't have, specific character touch points to focus on, but
Hmm.
the uh, finite nature of it all will be a strength for them instead of a problem,
Yeah.
according to Alexi. So,
Which, like, you could kind of tell last night that, like, it's gonna really be action packed. I mean, granted, it was the season premiere. They have to wrap up kind of or like start a storyline into a new season, but it was like action packed from the get-go. So,
mhm.
and then there was a Give Me My Remote article that dropped today with Sean and True, which we don't hear from them a whole lot as far as interviews. Well, we don't really hear from like the rookie cast a whole lot anyway with interviews.
Mhm.
But Sean and True, I thought was an interesting pairing. Also, can we just please have more scenes with them?
Yeah.
In the rookie, because I would love that. But True revealed that they did two takes of the season 5 finale for Aaron. One where his eyes are open and Selena notices. And then another where he flatlines, and they used the flatline take, and True was like, "Oh no," and had to check with his manager, which I thought
Yeah.
was cute.
Yeah, he was like, "Is everything is everything cool?"
Yeah. Do I need to worry? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, which I mean is very fair because I would, but I would have
Mhm.
loved to see like his eyes open. Selena notices they're like talking, or she's talking, whatever. Um, And then True also mentioned that he tried to actively stay hidden off of social media, not posting one thing about the show, which kudos to him because I wouldn't be able to do that.
Mhm.
Um, but then the rookie account was like they posted the poster and
Yeah. So there you go.
yeah. Well, and like even, some things that Eric had posted, like,
Well, true. And then you had like the wedding,
yeah.
like cast
And the
unofficial
100th.
photo. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
100th and all that.
So,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, he tried. He tried.
Yeah, I mean, he really did a good job. It was just
Yeah.
everyone else kind of.
And I love that he was like, "No, I'm going to stick with this. Like I'm going to put this
Mhm.
effort in."
Yeah.
But yeah. So, and now Eric, like, did you see? Yeah, you saw it today. He posted and he was like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
can finally
posted
like
that. Yeah.
share that Drew's back." So,
Yep.
it was funny.
Yeah. Well, and Sean also said like, they had taken pictures, one with True and like one
Yeah.
without True. So now
Yeah.
they all have a, backlog of True
Yeah.
photos that they can.
I just need them to do like
Yeah.
all the photo dumps now. What's
Yeah.
true.
Hmm.
So, Sean also noted that what's good about the show is that there are stakes. They have lost characters. Their show has done a good job at making you think you'll never know what happens to the characters. And then True also said regarding Aaron's journey that back to the force is going to be tough. He has to go to therapy and meet the therapist, etc. So it'll be a process for him to get back to where he was before. And True almost wishes that Aaron could have came back all badass, vigilante style or something like that. Um, yeah, just the way that like he came back though was pretty great. Like,
I mean, yeah, it was still cool.
yeah, I didn't think he had a motorcycle, so
No,
or I
or
wouldn't have like thought that
yeah,
about
or
him.
the leather jacket.
Yeah. With like the tiny like the little bit of facial hair was like, okay, Aaron, yeah. Yeah.
It was a
Um,
different look for sure.
yeah. And then Sean had said Monica's very dangerous, personally to Wesley. Great. Just what we need for a new father of two. Great. Um, but to any case she's on and in the department in general, she's dangerous to all of that. Um, and she's a major factor in the season, and she'll try to mess things up as much as possible. He also said that the threat gets less complicated as the season goes on, but the characters are always ready to deal with it. I need to know more about that because how does it get less complicated, but we'll find out who the real mastermind is at the end of the season. That's interesting, but
I mean, maybe because they're only focusing now on like a singular person, maybe, as opposed to
true.
like a uh whole crew of people. I don't know
Yeah.
though. I really don't know how the threat of this major case can, I don't know.
Yeah. And I would think with Boyd being gone, like it would probably make it a little bit harder, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I've seen some theories going around about like who's the mastermind, and someone was like, "What if it's Chris?" JK, and I was like, "Nah, no,
No,
no."
there's no way. I can't.
I thought maybe Elijah, and then I was like, I don't know where we left off with him. Like I can't remember, so probably not.
Aside from Angela punching the shit out of him,
Oh yeah,
like,
that's right.
I mean, because I think they kind of, well, wrapped it up in the sense that he's in prison. Whether or not
Yeah,
he stays in prison is a different story, I suppose.
yeah.
But I really don't, I have no idea who she was talking to on the phone.
You know what the
Um,
biggest plot twist would be? Is if it was Oscar. I mean,
I,
he's been around since like what, season one, season
that's
two?
true.
Like, I
Yeah,
mean, shoot, he
it's,
probably knows these police officers better. And like, I don't
yeah.
know.
Although if it's like, I feel like it has to be, well, I guess no, I guess it doesn't have to be. I was gonna say like someone closer to Wesley, but like it that doesn't necessarily have to be true.
No, because Wesley
So
and Angela weren't targeted.
yeah.
Like, they all were targeted, but like the crew didn't visit Lopez's house.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know. So part of me is like, well, it's got to be something to do with like Bailan or with Aaron and Selena. But with Aaron and Selena, I think they were just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Hopefully.
So, but I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think we've got a good season ahead of us.
Hmm.
So, and it's crazy to think that we only have 9 episodes left. Like, I'm sad to already think about that, but and then we kind of already discussed the 602 promo photos. I mean, they all look great, so I don't know what else I can say about that besides they just look amazing.
Yeah.
But I think we should just jump right into the episode because we've got a lot to discuss. So,
Hmm.
do you want to start us off with the whole like case of it all?
Sure. So to start off the season 6 premiere, the episode opens with uh essentially a man in flames running out from the smoke that's in the air thanks to the blown up car, and we see money flying everywhere. And then you notice that, John's calling for backup, saying he's pinned down, and then it cuts to say 97 minutes earlier. And as that's like interspersed with that is the fact that we see the crew getting all set up, and well, thanks to the inside man, um, a security guard, they're able to get into the Federal Reserve, um, while three other members are distracting the personnel up front. And kind of like interspersed with this is like, we see a little bit about they're taking Aaron in for surgery at the hospital because of the bullet fragments, and Selena's still there, and Gray tells her to just stay put and like watch, over him, make sure everything's cool. Um, and the robbers that are downstairs are getting like more weapons, and they have gas masks on, because the security guard let them into the reserve surveillance area, and they essentially smoked out the guards and cut the feeds off. And one of them radios upstairs and says that phase one is complete. Um, and then uh, they reply aloud that it's time for phase two. And apparently phase two involves killing the front men and taking rest of the employees hostage, so that way the hacker of their group can get to work on the computers.
Yeah.
And
The way that they were like, wait, what's phase two? And the crew was just
mhm,
like, you're done. It's
yeah,
like, oh, so we're doing that. Okay.
yeah, that was wild. I was like, oh my gosh. Um, and so it's again like lots of cuts in this episode, which I don't really know how to feel about. Um, but so we have the team wanting to figure this out, obviously. Um, so they're taking any type of call or want to take any call from dispatch. Nothing is too outrageous or ordinary, including the fact that the Federal Reserve missed its check-in by 17 seconds. Which, Gray is like, that's just a blip, and Nolan's like, nah, wait.
Hmm.
Let's let's go check it out. Um, why he
Also,
goes,
like 17 seconds, not
yeah,
15, not 20. They were like, it's 17.
maybe to go with 97. I don't know. Maybe it
Hmm.
was like a thing with sevens, but probably not. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know why. Um, what I also don't know is like why John went by himself. I mean, I know he was like, right, but like, I was just like, no, John,
Like,
why?
yeah, he was driving by himself, but he should have been like, can someone else follow me? Like for backup.
Yeah, because
I
like
don't know.
backup took like, well, okay, it was like seemed like 5 minutes in TV time, but I'm sure not,
Yeah.
you
Well, I
know.
thought it was kind of funny how he was like, I need backup. And then they're just like right behind the corner. I'm like, okay. So
Yeah.
why weren't they there before him? Like it was just kind
Hmm.
of weird.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, John is the closest, so he goes and checks it out, and when he tries to get into the reserve, the doors are locked, and he spots blood on the floor, and he calls it in, um, before he's then shot at multiple times.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and but he kind of dives and moves around and manages to evade the bullets, but he's pinned down. And since the cops now know that this is going on, that there's a crew, trying to rob the reserve, the people have to go to plan B, which is apparently to set a uh like explosive in one of the trucks. And then that's what, like, they set that off, and that's what sets the driver on fire, who we saw at the beginning, get out and
Hmm.
run. So then it's like that's all coming full circle. Um, but finally, at least backup arrives. And more um shooting is occurring, and we don't know any of these characters' names from the crew yet at this
Hmm.
time anyway. Um, so the assumed leader of the group, for now, uh, shoots the man that was downstairs firing at John.
Yeah.
And he does that from the third floor window to kind of throw them off track a little bit. And Gray, Harper, and Nolan are all going into the reserve, and they go down to the basement. They almost catch up with the crew because that was also part of their plan B, was a different escape route. But they escaped through these, I don't even know what kind of doors. They kind of looked like cell doors or
Hmm.
cage doors or something. Um, so they don't have the criminals in custody right now. And then we see the 6 weeks later card come up on screen. So apparently it's been 6 whole weeks and they don't have
Hmm.
them in custody at all.
Which is very comforting to know, you
Yeah.
know?
Hmm. Yeah. I was kind of, I wasn't like putting that together at first. I was like, oh, right. And they still don't know yet. And it's been, I mean, it could be worse. It could be 6 months,
Right.
but
That's true. Maybe that's why they did do 6 weeks, you
yeah.
know?
But we do see Well, we see someone on a motorcycle, kind of pull up into a parking spot, and as the same time that Angela's arriving to work. And that someone is Aaron, so yay, he's alive. As if we didn't already know that. But listen, I was still happy. I was like, yay,
No,
like
same.
he's actually
Same.
on screen.
I was
Um,
actually really proud of my tweet last night when I was like, what do you mean Aaron's alive? Like, this is brand new information.
yeah, that one
Yeah.
was gold. Yeah.
But
Um,
also, like, Angela's back at work after only 6 weeks.
yeah.
Like, I guess, yeah, they need her back, but also, like, her maternity leave should not be that short. I don't know.
Hmm.
Seems kind of crazy to me. But
Yeah.
especially considering that Wesley seems to have more time off than her. So I
That's
was
true
like,
because he was
wait,
on paternity leave when he talked to Tim and Lucy.
yeah. I was like, wait.
Hmm.
But then I don't know, looking back at his job
Yeah.
history last season, like maybe
Hmm.
he's trying to find like more work, who knows? So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Um,
continue
I mean, it's
on.
probably part of the reason why Angela can come back so early is just because
Hmm.
Wesley's, you know.
They've got time to find like a nanny or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
Um,
I'm just going off on tangents tonight,
oh no, you're
apparently. So,
fine. You're fine. I mean, because like this scene, I mean, it was just, we got we technically got another Aaron and Angela scene.
hmm.
So that was good. Um, because he asked if they have any new leads, and Angela's essentially like, well, I don't really know because it's my first day back too. So
Yeah.
they're both just kind of glad to be back at work. Um, and then we see Thorson checks in with Gray, and he tells him that it's required to go see the department psychiatrist. And he has his first appointment tonight with Dr. Blair London, who we find out later is Daniel Campbell's character. Um, but yeah, so Aaron's not exactly thrilled, because to quote him, he has a pretty dope therapist already, which I thought was a fun turn of phrase.
This whole like scene with Aaron and Gray was pretty funny.
Yeah,
It's like this is where the like humor comes in at.
yeah. But apparently the department won't sign off until he goes. So he's gonna do that, and then I felt so bad for him because literally every time he like wanted to go and help, Gray was like, no.
Hmm.
Literally like held him back. Like,
Yeah.
no, can't do it. But then when John wants to go, it's like, okay, fine. I'm like,
Yeah.
dang it.
Even
Um,
though it's his last shift before his wedding.
yeah, yeah.
Everyone's like, you probably shouldn't. But John's like, no, I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep. He he really was the epitome of a walking, what did we say? A walking caution sign?
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Um,
really is, considering the one of the later scenes.
yeah,
That had me chuckling.
definitely.
Yeah.
So we then had Tim and Nyla briefing the team on what they do know about the case, which is not much because they start off with what they don't know because there's no way to trace the crew, there were no fingerprints and no DNA got hits in their system. So they assume that someone hacked into the law enforcement database to erase the records. What they do know is that they tried to steal $30 million, but then they've also done 100 million in smaller transactions to fly under the radar. So like no one notices the little blips. Um, and but they do get a break. Well, I guess Nyla technically does, but then like everyone else joined the party,
Hmm.
so to speak, because Angela tells her that there's a call from it was Beverly Hills, right? Beverly
Yeah.
Hills Police Department, um, about a man who ran his Lamborghini into a tree, and she was like, "Why do I care?" And Angela's like, "Well, because this evidence that she put into the system now has a match." And the guy's name is Banks, or that's what they called him anyway.
Yeah.
Um, and so Nyla gets on the phone with the arresting officer as like her and Gray are going over. I mean, John and Selena are too. Um, but Nyla is informing him about how dangerous um he, Banks is, but before he can really, draw his weapon and, tell him to freeze or something, Banks takes poor nurse Lisa hostage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, like I said, Gray, Harper, Nolan, and Juarez are all at the hospital trying to reason with him. Oh, it's really not reasoning. It's really just if John can get him to face the door, Nyla can take the shot and
Yeah.
it can be done. Um, and so that's what she does, and he goes down. Um, which I didn't quite understand. I'm assuming that the nurse was shot by a bullet from the earlier officer's gun.
Yeah, that would
Like I
make
didn't really
sense.
understand like how she got wounded if no one actually shot, but again, I don't know because that kind of happened way too fast.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that would make sense because hopefully the other officer would have shot the guy
yeah.
like in a way to take him out,
Hmm.
but must have missed, or the way that the guy had like taken the nurse.
Yeah.
Maybe like
I don't
the
know.
nurse had caught
If
up.
I missed it, my apologies.
There was a lot going on in the episode because I
Mhm.
definitely missed things. So,
Yeah. So John hopes that this guy's belongings can tell them something about him or that, what he wrote down on the paperwork in the hospital was legit. And it technically was because it was for a rental property. Um, and John and Selena search there, and Selena finds a bunch of money and a phone stashed underneath, well, in a drawer, like in the kitchen. And so they know that there's only one number that has been called in the log, and the contact is made every day at 4 p.m. So back at the station, Angela and her team are connecting to the phone's camera and mic and everything so they can see and hear what's going on. Uh, of course, Aaron is the one that helps identify what kind of jet they're looking at when
mhm.
the camera does eventually come on. And I thought that was funny. Like he's just able to kind of like shift back into like a joking, manner despite the fact that they're essentially looking for the people that, attacked him.
Yeah.
Um, and I was so confused as to where Nolan was going, and then Greg kind of rushed out after him.
Hmm.
But Nolan had the idea to get into the uh Lambo and turn it on so he can pretend to be Banks. Um, and so when he's talking to um the man on the other end of the phone, he, tries to act like the phone is, cutting out, like the signal's bad, and revving the engine. So it kind of, you can hear him, but not really. So you can't exactly tell that the voice is, uh, I don't know, indistinguishable, I suppose.
Yeah.
And they may not have bought it, but it did give them the opportunity to get like photos of their suspects to upload and then identify. So they are identified as Boyd Taylor, who's kind of the ringleader of the earlier crew and this one as well. Um, Kim Lochner and Saisha Witt were their names. And uh, so at least they now know who they're trying to find,
Hmm.
and better yet, they know where they'll be. Um, and while this is going on, we at least get to see Angela checking in on Nyla after everything that happened with the shooting because she has to meet with um, you know, IA and everything, but she feels better knowing that Gray like witnessed it. She will sadly still have nightmares about it though. despite the fact that she's been in this kind of situation before. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, poor Nyla.
She was like really hit by it. Like you
Yeah.
could tell just in the way that she was zoning out and everything. I was like, oh man,
Hmm.
I don't like
Yeah.
this for her. But also like give us a little Nyla angst here.
Yeah. And it basically, like, Angela asks if, she can do anything to help, and Nyla's like, no, not really, but thanks. And it stands to reason she's not telling James yet because even though he means well, he'll wonder why she didn't tell him sooner about it, and she thinks that he might judge her a little bit. Um, and she doesn't want to deal with that right now.
Hmm.
So, um, then we pull back over. We know where the team is mobilizing to, because Boyd, Kim, and Saisha, and whoever's else is on the plane, um, they'll be landing at Whittier as opposed to um, LAX. So since they know their coordinates, they're gonna go like take them into custody there. And
Yeah.
then we see, well, another, I guess, shootout, um, very quick happens. And poor John gets thrown for a couple loops.
Yep.
Um, I don't even I don't even
Stuck
know how to describe it
it
because
stuck in the car by a seatbelt. And I was
yeah,
like,
but then
okay.
you had the gas tank, and
Yeah.
then you had the trolley because the gas tank hit the trolley. It was just like this whole like
It's
ping
like a
pong,
domino effect
yeah,
of
this
bad
whole
things.
thing.
I will
Um,
say that the seatbelt thing was the most John Nolan thing that could have happened to him.
oh, so true.
Like I was
It,
like,
yeah,
yeah, this sounds about right. Like,
yeah.
so at least he had backup there, but
Hmm. Yeah. Um, and honestly, had it not been for Selena warning him, then he would
yeah,
have been crushed by the trolley. So that kind of sucks. But I mean, good that she was able to help him out there.
yeah.
Um, but also though the seatbelt thing reminded me of that one blooper where Melissa like can't buckle the seatbelt or
Mm-hmm.
something. And then Eric starts speaking, over the line or something, and she finally got it, and then they have to do it again.
Yeah.
So that's what that reminded me of. Um, but yeah, he really couldn't catch a break in that. Um,
Yeah.
but that was just the worst time for that to happen for him. Um, but he was so insistent that he wanted to go and see this through. So, which
Mm-hmm.
I can't blame him. That is very much how Nolan is. Um, but literally, I mean,
Yeah.
everyone was telling him, like, no, don't do
Mm-hmm.
that. Um, but he he's gonna do what he's gonna do. Um,
Yeah.
so they have Boyd in custody now. He's questioned by Lopez and Gray. Well, I guess I really shouldn't say question because they chatted. Uh, because as his lawyer Monica points out, they can't question her client without her being present. And I'm like, gosh darn it, why? Like when she walked
Yeah.
in the room, I was like, why? Of
Yep.
all the lawyers, why? Um, yeah.
It is
So
interesting that they brought her back.
yeah, I was not expecting it.
But I guess with it only being 10 episodes, it makes sense. Like, but there's not enough time to introduce a whole new character
Hmm.
when you've already got like a whole arc that there's likely going to be a new character or something.
Yeah. So she wants a word with her client, alone, and so Angela and Gray leave. We then see Monica on the phone talking to someone. We don't know who that is, but she's saying how Boyd Taylor might jump at a deal. So basically, I mean, it's like insinuating that he's a liability to them
Hmm.
now. Um, and like as that is going on, then we also see um Harper again zoning out as she's supposed to be getting off the elevator, but then almost lets the doors close again, and Nolan
Hmm.
um, stops them, and then she comes out, and apparently at least things went smoothly with IA, like with her meeting.
Yeah.
Um, and she seems to be okay for now. Um, but I liked that moment though, because it felt very just like old, like classic
Yeah.
John and Nyla, like he just
Yeah.
wants to help.
Yeah.
Um, and so the Monica phone conversation would explain sort of why at the end of the episode we see um Boyd, who is on a bus. Is he not by himself? Like, I
He
swear.
is.
Was he? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He
So
is
he,
with like a couple of guards or like yeah, at least a guard there. And then
yeah,
the
but he
bus
was like the
driver.
only
Yeah.
prisoner, like on the
Yeah.
bus, which I was like, what in the world is going on? And why is it like midnight or whatever? I was so confused.
Yeah. I was confused as to why it was like a whole school bus when we've seen like Lafayette being taken in like a van.
Yeah,
But I was like, maybe that's all that they had.
yeah.
But
I don't know. It was very, I was just, and I was like, okay, we're like seeing him. I was like, what's gonna happen?
hmm
Um, yeah, but he's, in the prison jumpsuit, ready to go. Um, he's shot in the head, assumingly by a sniper. Um,
yeah.
but the question remains is who, ordered the hit on him.
hmm
So, eh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was like perfect shot in a
Hmm.
way. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll revisit this next week. I wouldn't think so, but then again, I don't know because it looks like they've got a whole new case going on. So maybe this
Yeah.
is just like an overtime case. I don't know.
I would assume so. I really don't know though, because I mean, I don't know what could possibly make John and Bailey's wedding so dangerous.
Yeah, and that's what the promo says.
Um, but
And I
they've
was
never really had
confused
normal, uh, normal
looking wedding
couple
pics.
outings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
So,
what I was confused about because like Alexi had said in the TV line interview or whatever, he was like, yeah, this is like we're not gonna play it up so much to be dangerous, but then like also we have dramatics in here. And
mhm.
then the trailer was like the most dangerous wedding. I'm like, most dangerous? What? How?
Yeah.
It's also like, what about Angela and La Fiera? That was pretty dangerous. So,
Hmm. Yeah. That was that was craziness.
hmm
Um, we do get to see Aaron go to his first appointment where he meets Blair, who's apparently only been on the job for 6 months, and she's very new, but she is very excited about what she's doing, and they seem to have a good rapport already. So, um, that's good. I know people were like speculating, well, if like um her and Aaron would date, or if
hmm
somehow she's like an devious character or something. And I was like, I don't know, but that would be, I mean, either way would be like unethical.
Yeah.
Since she's a psychiatrist, but I don't know.
I mean, I will say last night I tweeted out, oh, Aaron had hard eyes, but he also could have just been like kind of thrown off.
Hmm.
I don't know. Then I saw people saying that she could be the mole for Monica, and I was like, I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe like because Wesley had said like be careful what you share, like
Hmm.
because they don't work for you, that they could share that information with everyone else. I mean, that I could see, especially if she's only 6 months onto the job, like she might not know kind of like the etiquette to have, but I don't know. I feel like when you're becoming a therapist, psychiatrist, whatever, like you're pretty much like you know about patient therapist confidentiality. So
Hmm.
yeah, but I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm excited to learn more about her and I would like to see if anyone else goes to her. I don't know why they would have to. Maybe Nyla, but
Yeah. Well, I was kind of thinking, like, I just assumed that, like, Selena and Aaron would go. And, like,
Yeah,
maybe, well, granted, maybe after John and Bailey got married or something, they might, go or something. But
yeah,
it's,
yeah,
I
like the
don't
ones
know.
who were affected too.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Yeah. Um,
yeah, it's interesting. It'll also be interesting to see how, as time goes on, how Aaron feels about her. Like
mhm,
if it's brought up, like if Gray asks, are you going to the therapist? How do you feel about it? Like, and if he continues to go to his quote unquote dope therapist. So,
mhm,
but yeah, that'll be interesting. So now we have Nolan's last shift before the wedding, including all the Bailan stuff. This was just again very Nolan and Bailan
mhm.
of them, typical
Yeah.
for them. So, but Selena and John are driving. She asks if he's nervous, because it's the last shift before the wedding, and he's like, "No, are you nervous with having Nyla as your TO in my absence?" And John's like, "Or you could have Sergeant Bradford." And Selena's like, "Well, no, no, no. What about Smitty though?" And she's like, "I'm just kidding."
Mhm.
And I was like, just once, I would like to see Smitty like having a rookie for like a few shifts. I don't need
Yeah.
an entire season of it, but just a few shifts.
Yeah.
And he kind of had Aaron, but like
Mhm.
more. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, because like I was just like, I mean, not like I don't know why John will be gone. Like, yes, he's getting married. They're gonna go on a honeymoon,
Hmm.
supposedly. But I'm like, okay, and like it's not like he's gonna be gone forever. But I guess
Right.
they would need someone to take over temporarily
Yeah, because I mean,
for
you figure
him.
like if they're on like a week-long honeymoon, that's at least 5 days of him being
Yeah.
gone. But
Hmm.
like they're all gonna be at the wedding, so it's not like she's working while he's like
Yeah.
getting married. Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know how all that works.
and it's not like Bailey's pregnant either, and not like they're gonna have the baby. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
just kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. But then she reassures John that she's good with Nyla. She's great. Like Selena, sure, she'll learn a lot from her. And then backtracks by telling him that he's taught her a lot and like she's spinning out because, like she keeps kind of hyping Nyla up and you can kind of see that John's like, oh, well, what about
Yeah.
me? Um,
Hmm.
but they're stopped when um they have to pull over to help a woman who's flagging them down. Um, which Okay, so we know that Selena rides with Chenford for
Hmm.
at least one episode. We
Yes.
don't know. People were like, well, we know that Tim becomes her TO. Like, and they seemed like that was something to happen for the rest of the season or a lot of it. But I only remember it for like maybe an episode or two. So can we
For
have some of Nyla?
for Tim being like
Mm-hmm.
training Selena.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Well, I don't know, but like it's also behind the scenes stuff, so they could just
Uh-huh.
be on set together. Like they might not
Yeah.
even necessarily be writing together.
Yeah. I
So,
don't know. I mean, it'd be like fine if they like paired up for like a moment or something. Because I know in the um in the like 2 minute uh I don't even know what to call it, like progression of the show or something that the
hmm,
rookie account released
yeah.
earlier today. Uh I think we see it like a new scene, a split second of Tim and
Okay.
Selena or something. But I don't know in what context. Um,
I would be here for it for sure.
oh
Especially if
yeah.
Lucy and Aaron start writing together again.
Hmm.
But I would also like to see Selena and Nyla
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
because I love them. But it makes sense if Nyla isn't going to be her TO because
Yeah.
of everything she's got going on with the shooting aftermath and if she's going through stuff and then also like she's a detective. So I could see them being like, well, that's kind of not like a demotion, but like she's got bigger things to do and worry about than like training Selena.
Yeah. But then you
But
got Tim and Metro, so I'm just like, I don't really understand. Because even
yeah.
Tim earlier in the episode was like, there's an 8% difference or whatever
Mm-hmm.
in,
Yeah.
the variations of what roles they have. And I'm like, okay, I don't really,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. I don't know. I would also like to see her paired with Smitty though, or just talking to Smitty more, because I feel like he would just kind of like argue everything that she
Hmm.
has to say and like
Yeah.
probably piss her off. I don't
Hmm.
know, it'd be funny. But um yeah, so she reassures Sean that she's good with Nyla and everything like that. They pull over to help a woman who's flagging them down. Turns out her husband's missing. She's like, I've called him, whatever. And then he pulls up to their house in their front lawn and is wasted. Like literally gets out of the car and beer cans fall out.
Yep.
So then John and Selena take the recently found husband in, start booking him. And while doing that, Selena's like, "Do you have any advice as to how to optimize my time and my experience with Nyla?" And John's like, "I'm not gonna give you any cheat codes." Nyla then walks up and she's like, "Cheat codes for what?" And John's like, "She wants cheat codes about working with you." And Nyla's like, "I am an enigma wrapped in a badass riddle," and addresses her as Boot. And I was just like, she was like, do you understand that, Boot? And I was like, I've missed them calling the rookies Boot. Like
Hmm.
I didn't think I would miss that a lot, but I do.
Hmm.
So, um, it'll be good to see Nyla with a rookie again, if there is any kind of like scene or episode with that. But it was just kind of funny to like see her like in that take no shit mode again. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, so then Nyla asks why John is out on patrol, and he's like, "It's my last shift." And Nyla's like, "Yeah, exactly why you should be hiding under a desk until it's time to go home." And I was like, "Don't you like think about the curse of the last shift?" And she's like, "Did anything I teach you stick?" Um, and so Selena's like, "Wait, curse, last shift?" And he tells Selena that like Nyla feels like the last shift before vacation, retirement, wedding, anything is to be feared. And Selena's like, "Well, I'm sure it is. I'm superstitious, so you might as well just write collateral damage on my forehead." And she's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And he's like, "Because I don't believe in it or curses."
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly what you should say before just about everything on during your shift is gonna go wrong. He just jinxed himself. He's a big jinx. We love him, but like, yeah. So just as he says everything's gonna be like smooth sailing, he answers a call from Bailey, and it turns out that the AC has gone out in their house and that they're supposed to have their wedding there tomorrow. Which I kind of thought when he answered her call that it was gonna be much worse
Yeah,
just
that
because like
was
he
true.
kind of jinxed it. Not to say that the AC going out isn't bad, but I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
But it was so funny how he was like trying to be positive and he's like, that's great. Like,
Yeah.
because Nyla was still standing right there. It's like,
Yeah.
if I were Bailey, I'd be like, what the heck are you talking about?
Right.
That's great.
So he assures her that they'll swing by and he'll fix it. And like Nyla and him are talking, and John's like, Selena, let's go. Like, I'm done with this. And Selena's like, do we have to? Like, she just seems like the person that just didn't want to go and do like what their parents had asked them to do. It was so funny. So John and Selena get to his house. He's like, I'll go fix the AC. Selena and Bailey talk. Selena's like, I got a great dress for the wedding. Like, I'm ready to partay. And I'm just like, Selena, heart eyes. I love her.
Mhm.
Also, her dress is amazing for
Yeah.
that. And I'm literally so ready to see it because
Yeah.
her hair, like, just everything.
Mhm. I was
So,
just so happy to see Lisette's name in the credits, like in the main
yes.
credits.
Oh
I
my
was like, I
gosh.
got gleefully excited
Yeah.
over that.
Yeah. No, like my excitement all day for the new rookie episode. I was like, I literally haven't felt this much serotonin in a long time. I was like, okay, I'm ready for my show to come back.
Yeah.
So John comes back out, the AC is back on, everything's good. Selena mentions the curse to Bailey, and John's like, dude, why? Yeah. I feel like Selena just doesn't know when to like keep things to herself. Like she just kind of like word vomits. Um, so then there's a knock at the door because, this is John's last shift and he doesn't believe in curses. So what else could go wrong? And the guy on the other side of the door is thrown off by the police being in there in the house. And he mentions that they're tearing down the house next door this weekend and it's likely to get a little noisy. John's like, I'll handle this. But the neighbor's not going to do anything about pushing the demolition. He can't alter his schedule. He actually won't. So that's that. And so Bailey's look to John before he leaves was hilarious because that would be my look. I would be like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do about this?
And he literally like ran out. He was like, he was like
Yeah.
stuttering the whole time and just like literally ran out.
Oh, it was just too funny. It was too funny. The man is a walking meme and caution sign.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So John and Selena are searching the suspect's house, like Carrie had mentioned before. She mentions the curse around Smitty, who conveniently doesn't do curses either, which is a pretty Smitty thing. I don't know. He doesn't do a lot of stuff, so it
Yeah.
makes sense. And then we have like, I don't know, what I thought was a good reaction pic from John when he's like, thanks, and tells Selena, like, he, kind of like his eyes get all big and he tells
Hmm.
her thanks sarcastically.
Yeah. It's the
And he
default face.
tells, huh?
It's the default face
Yeah,
for
yeah.
him.
So then he tells Selena that they'll start their search in the back bedroom where she'll recite the 5 rules of a domicile search. And if she mentions the word curse and his presence again, she'll be volunteered for all cavity searches at the station until her 30th birthday. And I was like, okay. But I love Selena. I mean, obviously, right? I talk about it literally every chance I can get. But it was kind of nice to see John like bringing down the hammer a little bit with her. Like he needed to be the tough TO in that moment and just like let her know gently to watch it. Like he was tired of hearing about it.
I was
Um,
just surprised. I was like, whoa, like how very Bradford of him, like season
yeah,
one Bradford.
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't as bad, but I just the delivery and just like
Hmm.
it just seemed like something they would have like Tim say.
Yeah. But like I can also see why he was annoyed with it. Like she had
Mhm.
mentioned it to Bailey and had kind of had Bailey probably spinning out about it, like mentioned it to Smitty. Like I could see why he was kind of like, okay, this is enough. So then later in the episode, she apologizes for taking the superstition thing seriously. And she's like, it's in my DNA to take them seriously. And I thought that was really cute, like very spiritual, very like just kind of not hippy dippy, but kind of in a way for her. And John's like, it's about you allowing it to distract you when you're on the job. Like he tells her that she's been on the job long enough to know what happens when she loses focus, even for a minute. And she's like, you're right. Like, I won't let it happen again. So John's like going home at the end of the day. This was like you had said, like classic John and Nyla. This literally was one of my favorite moments of that episode. Like it felt like a callback. It felt like a hug. And John's going home and he's like, I'm proud I survived to my last shift before the wedding. He's like, I'm still standing. And Nyla's like, why must you tempt fate? Like, what are you trying to do? And he's like, because I know it upsets you. That's why I like to do it. And she was like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're going to hell for that. Like, yeah. So then Bailey walks in looking upset because I mean, again, he tempted fate and he's a jinx. So she shares that the neighbors aren't budging on the demo work like she's tried all day. And so they're gonna have to call off the wedding for now. And Aaron walks by. Aaron like was always conveniently walking by, which I loved that.
Yeah.
Um, he hears that something is a disaster. They tell him what's all going on, and he offers his family spiritual oasis downtown. And John's like, wait, your family has a spiritual oasis? And he's like, I'm asking that in a very gracious manner.
Hmm.
And Aaron's like, how many guests are you having? And we find out there's going to be 75. Aaron's like, yeah, no problem, no problem. We can handle 5 times as many as that, which, okay, I would like to see how big this place is. And Bailey and John are like, we can't ask you to do that, but Aaron's like, no, I'm offering, like, it's the least that I could do after you saved my life. And then Bailey, like, goes into semantics, like, she can't, like, accept the compliment or whatever. And she's like, well, technically, doctors and nurses saved you. I just helped you get there. And John's like, thank you for this. Like, so it's settled that they're getting married at the Zen Gardens. Yeah, which is a really pretty venue. I mean, judging by the pictures, so which is
Hmm.
just a set, but yeah, the whole like John Nolan curse thing was just hilarious because it's very John Nolan. Also, it's very Bailan of them that they can't even have a normal wedding
No.
because they can't even have normal dates without something going wrong. So,
Yep.
yeah. I also tweeted out that um it was kind of a funny callback in a way that like Bailey and John were on the same side of the door and they opened the door to like meet a new neighbor and that's like how Bailey and John met.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Like, good
I
catch.
mean, granted, Bailey wasn't like a permanent neighbor, but like she became a permanent fixture of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I
Hmm.
just thought it was like a kind of a funny callback. And I was like 2.5 seasons later, like they're gonna get married. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
cute. Yeah. And like
But
Nyla with the whole superstition thing reminded me of the Q word. And
yeah,
I mean, a little bit anyway, just in her reactions.
yeah.
I just love Makia's delivery of like one-liners. It's just great.
It's so good. So good. So, and then next we have Lucy and Tim with her detective's exam, which, yeah, yeah. So Tim walks into his office to find Lucy sitting behind his desk studying for the detective's exam. She's like, I've fallen behind in studying. Like, can I actually ride with you so you can quiz me between calls? One, I thought it was so freaking cute that she was just in his office, like hiding away. Number
Yeah.
one. Number two, I love that she was like, I want to ride with you on a call or on calls today so that you can quiz me. Like, she didn't
Hmm.
even give him the option to like offer
Yeah.
that up. She was like, we're
Well, I
doing
mean,
this.
yeah, well, he didn't give her the option to read him the split second leadership book.
True, true. Yeah,
So there you go. Now the shoe's on
yeah.
the other foot, so to speak.
So Tim's like, you could study as much as you want, but if Prim really has it out for you, like he'll still find a way to sabotage with crazy scenarios. And for a minute when this preview came out, I was like, who's Prim? Like I forgot. I forgot that
Hmm.
he was the one that like Lucy like bribed or whatever for Tim's move to Metro. So Tim suggests that they could spend the day chasing outside of the box calls to prepare her and widen her knowledge base. She thanks him and he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna make it easy today. Like you learn best when you're a little pissed off." Um, which is just very Tim Bradford.
Hmm.
Um, and then it just brought me back to the Tim test. I was like, he's gonna pull out a couple of Tim tests, won't he? But and then Chenford is driving. Lucy's thinking like she should have asked Angela or Nyla to help her study. And Tim reminds her of what's going on. And he's like, Nyla's busy with the task force. And Angela's like just getting back into police work and settling. And then Tim's like, all ranked police officers share the same knowledge base. And he mentions that there's only about 8% unique to each specialty. And he argues that the 8%, or she argues that the 8% is what Prim will test her on and try to trip her up on, which is a valid point. I mean,
Hmm.
like, even if you know everything, like, well, you should still study, like, the parts that might not be pretty, like, generic of what you would know. So, Tim tells her that that's probably what Prim wants her to think, and that he'll try to trip her up and stump her with that. So she's not too happy with that statement from Tim. Now she's gonna play the second guessing game and spiral out of control with whether or not Prim wants her or knows that she thinks he'll try to trip her up. Um, and while she's spinning out, Tim's just sitting there speechless. His brain is like broken again, and he's not sure what to say. Honestly, that would be a great reaction meme for him too, because he was just like, I don't know what to do here. Um, and when he doesn't say anything, Lucy's like, "Stop! I can hear you thinking." And she's just like, "No, don't want to deal with this." So Chenford rolls up to a call. Tim radios that he's assigning controlled officer Chen. He reiterates that like he's there as a resource. She's in charge now, which I would be like, okay, no pressure, thanks. Like, all right, we're doing this. She deduces that the crime scene is too small. Responding officers didn't recover the murder weapon, so the shooter probably ditched it somewhere along the block. And he tells her to try to make the call. She like radios for more units to start an expanded crime scene canvas and search grid. And homicide will also need to be notified along with the TID team being mobilized. So he's like, what else needs to be done? And she's like, she gets thrown off. And she's like, there's nothing that can be done until TID comes, like, to document the scene. And she's like, am I missing something? And he repeats the question in more of a statement form to her. And she's like, you're messing with me. And then she starts to second guess herself, which I feel her on that because I would too.
Mm.
So he asks her if she wants him to tell her the wild card that's there. And she's like, yes, but also wait, I want to figure it out. And so he's like, pretend you don't have a minute. And he asks her again what she's missing. They get a little feisty with each other, and he tells her that there's no shame in not knowing the answer. But she tells him to let her think for a minute and calls him Sergeant Bradford, which the internet was like going crazy on. And I was like, we haven't heard her call him Sergeant Bradford before, right? Like
Um,
even when they were in the apartment, or did we?
um, I mean, the only time I can ever think of off the top of my head anyway is like all the way back in season 2 when he took the exam
Yeah.
and then she was like saying it in a, like kind of proud way.
Yeah. And then sprinklers start. The lawn sprinklers start. And the bullet like comes out, washes down the drain. Uh Not like comes out, but like we see it. And then Chenford's walk like later, not later in the episode, but like after this, Chenford's walking back into the station. Lucy's like, that crime scene and what went down was a literal clown show. And she's like, I just hope that no one heard about it. And then circus music starts to play over the intercom, which was funny. Um, Also, like, because it was so quiet, I was like, that could easily be music, just like anytime during the day. Like, yes, it's annoying, but it was kind of like lower. Not that they would have music playing or anything, but so then Aaron like walks up to Chenford to talk about something. And like when asked if everyone knows what happened at the scene, Aaron laughs and confirms everyone does. So then he shares the background check information that he found on their victim, like says the name, age, all that. Lucy like cuts Aaron off nicely when she sees Wesley and like walks over, and he's heard about the clown show at the scene, which like that he heard from Angela, right? Like I feel like maybe he's got other people at the station that he's got like, he's in the group. But I feel
Hmm.
like if anyone was to tell him, it'd probably be Angela.
Yeah.
So we also find out that Wesley has again more parental time than Angela, apparently, because he's still on paternity leave. But he tells her that the crime scene was fatally compromised, and the only way for her to guarantee a conviction is to get a full confession from the killer, if they can find them, that is. So Chenford's back at the clown show scene, well, down the street, and Lucy's spinning out. And she's like thinking, maybe she should skip the detective's exam. But she knows what will happen if she doesn't pass, and she just thinks that it's better if she just waits. So Tim doesn't argue, and like she gets upset with it because he's like, maybe you should, like, if you think that's what's best. And she's thinking that he meant he doesn't think she'll pass. But I don't know. To me, she was putting words in his mouth. Like they're in the middle of their discussion, talking about it, and then they see a woman pull up, and look at the scene. So the discussion is put on hold. The car pulls off to park. Chenford gets out, following the woman up to the house, and who's digging in the trash. And she's clearly upset. And Lucy's like, you're like, police are here. Let me search. So she goes to search the trash bag, finds a gun along with a bracelet. And the woman claims that the gun isn't hers, but like when she finds the bracelet, she knows that that's obviously what the woman was looking for. So the woman like doesn't it doesn't take much and she's just confessing to the crime. So that's all that we see on that. And then at the end of the episode, Chenford's walking out of the station. He compliments her. She's clearly pissed. Like she's shutting down. She just like doesn't really know what to do anymore. So he like kind of pulls her aside because she just wants to like keep on walking. And he's like, this isn't gonna work if you're gonna lie to me. And she asks him point blank if he undermined her. Um, if he if why he undermined her was because he's scared that she's gonna make detective. And he's like, I didn't do it for that reason, and I'm upset that you would think like that. And so she's like, well, maybe it was subconscious, not deliberate. And now she's wondering if or now he's wondering if she thinks he's unaware of his actions. Um, she brings up like what happened with Isabel and like how that was deeply traumatic for him. And he's like, yeah, I never said that it wasn't. Like I've never not admitted it. And he reminds her that he did admit it on the first date that they met. Which call back to the pilot.
Mhm.
And so then like he reminds her that the only thing he did that day was like just be there for her, having her back. And if she can't see that, um, you know, and then he just stops before he says something he'll regret. And like they go their separate ways for the night. But like after she was like clearly in shock about and just like couldn't believe what just happened. And that's kind of where we leave Chenford, which um, yeah, full of angst.
Mhm.
I don't know. There was mixed reactions to this.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there was a lot of chatter
Hmm.
about it for sure.
I will say that I'm glad that the rookie account accurately portrayed a character who's going through an anxiety spiral. Like I feel like this was kind of a step in their relationship that they had to take. Like someone had to have this anxiety spiral to see how the other person was going to react. I mean it's a very real thing. Like he's been supportive of her career choices so far, like except for that one time when she first went undercover, but like he's there for her. He's her number one. Like he doesn't want to walk away. He's in this for the long haul. And by him
Hmm.
not like continuing the conversation, like it just showed that he doesn't want to say something that like could potentially end what they have that he could regret. But like also like he wants to set boundaries. Like he doesn't want Lucy to push him away, but he wants to set boundaries. Um and he's not like shying away from supporting her like through, her anxiety spiral, but yeah, I don't know. It was just interesting like to see that that's kind of how like we might get the angst. But I mean, I guess like we've seen them kind of go through like her undercover work, her desire
Hmm.
for undercover, and then now like Tim being promoted to sergeant and how that can affect them. So it makes sense
Yeah.
that we would have um this storyline. So
I mean,
yeah.
I will say it like wasn't what I thought
Hmm.
their argument was gonna be about. And I mean, like I have mixed feelings myself about it
Yeah.
because like the more I think about it, and because I am how I am, I like to like analyze things like that. Um, I kind of wish that we had had more uh I don't know what the right word is, like background
Hmm.
on Lucy's anxiety, like it would have come up in
Yeah.
other aspects. I mean, granted, um, everyone's anxiety, diagnosed or not, is different,
Hmm.
and can, show up in different ways. I just kind of thought because she was so, I mean, granted, she wanted Tim's approval of, her going
Hmm.
undercover and doing all that, but I felt like she was really confident
Yeah.
in that. And so it kind of, I don't know, like surprised me, I guess, just a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, that she kind of went into a full-on spiral. I mean, I know she likes to talk things through, to, work through them and everything, and maybe that's kind of what she was trying to do, like
Yeah.
in the shop. But I mean, I definitely, yeah, I do applaud them for uh realistically and accurately portraying
Hmm.
uh a, case of anxiety, and it
Yeah.
was all too relatable. Uh
Yeah.
yeah.
I also feel like maybe if they had explored the storyline like a couple episodes into the season and like given us backstory more like how you said on her anxiety, it would have
Yeah.
been good, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. People have said that like we know we're getting the I love you next episode, which
Oh, right.
yeah, I mean,
I keep forgetting
I
about
don't know.
that.
I still don't totally believe that's next episode just because we had that preview, but I don't know. That could be like for the entire season overall. But maybe that's my delusional self thinking that. But like even the lie detector stuff that we know we're gonna get next episode, like I wonder how this is going to play into that. Like,
Hmm.
is she gonna start kind of accusing him, quote unquote, again during the lie detector test, and that's why they have to do this test? Because I mean, why else would they do a lie detector test? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
true.
depending on the case, like, and they're cops, so they could probably easily do it, but also like you don't just do a lie detector test for fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they kind of come back from this the next episode because we know that they're not gonna be like seeing each other that night.
Hmm.
But like they're supposed to be dates to Baylan's wedding.
Hmm.
They're doing this like lie detector test. They're working together, so they have to like, kind of come back from this. I don't know. It's very interesting to see like how this will all play out, especially with how they left things. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. And like, will Lucy take the time to realize like what all happened and how they got from point A to point B and
Hmm.
like apologize to Tim, or will she just kind of be like, no, like I'm in the right here? I don't know. It'll
Yeah.
be it'll be interesting to see.
Because it was a low blow,
Hmm.
like that she took. Um,
She brought up the Isabel stuff. I
yeah.
mean,
And yeah, she was wrong,
hmm
um, to say that. I just kind of felt like it was not that anxiety makes you do things because you're,
yeah,
supposedly in control of, yourself, but like it can manifest itself into, you know,
lashing out.
catastrophizing.
Yeah,
Yeah, or lashing out because you're so in your own head that if someone
hmm
tries to, break through that a little bit, it kind of throws you off completely,
yeah,
which then would frustrate you and make you, upset.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I don't think I don't think it was right what she said. I'm glad that Tim was able to stop before he said something that he would
yeah.
regret. I thought that showed a lot of maturity on his part.
I'm glad that he kind of called her out on it.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, don't just let her do that.
Yeah.
but and
Mm-hmm.
he did it in a nice way too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like he was like very pissed off or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
it was a low blow to bring up Isabel. I mean,
Yeah.
I get it, like that is a big reason for his feelings about it and like his past, but never once did he say he was like not believing in her or anything. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But we had some listener thoughts
Mm-hmm.
for this episode. Do you want to take us through the first one?
Yeah. So, Sheila had said, she has so many thoughts. First one being, oh my God, Aaron lived. Yeah. We were
Thank
all pretty happy
goodness.
about that. Yeah. Um, Selena's comedic relief was perfect and needed. Um, for Nyla, though, she thinks it was her projecting that James would judge her for, um, shooting the suspect. They hope that James is more supportive than like what he could be.
Mhm.
Um, and then they said Lopez baby name in question marks. Yeah, because I guess we don't know their baby girl's name, do we?
No,
No? Okay. Um, yeah, so maybe we'll get that soon,
I hope
hopefully.
so. I hope that
Um,
there's like a call out or something, a mention of it next week.
yeah.
And like, because don't we see Nyla and James and Angela and Wesley like talking?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
hope that they're kind of like Nyla's like, wow, you guys like had a have a night away from the babies or something, and like Angela says the baby's name.
Hmm.
Like parents' night out. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
They also said John, they're shaking their head because the man almost died multiple times and in multiple ways. Uh,
Hmm.
so true. Um, and Aaron's response to the therapist was fun. That'll be interesting to see. And Chenford's story arc was an interesting view on the topic of vulnerability and shame right from the time jump, excuse me, to their last scene. And
Yeah.
last but not least, they loved classic Smitty moments in the episode too.
I was glad to see Smitty
Hmm.
because I feel like we hadn't seen him in anything like
Yeah,
behind the
been a
scenes wise,
while.
and then we finally did, and I was like, I hope that we're not going a few episodes into the season without seeing Smitty.
Yeah,
Also, like he just needs to be added like as a regular at this point.
right.
Like, please.
So true.
So Mandy said the episode was so fast paced. So much was happening at once, yet it had me hooked. I'm so happy they did not kill off Aaron and that they're actually dealing with this trauma. Same, same. I'm glad that like they're dealing with it, they're gonna show it, but also they're gonna show that it's not easy. And Nyla, same thing. I don't think James would judge her. She did the right thing. Um, I didn't even think about James like potentially judging her for it until like she had said that and I
Yeah.
sat on it and I was like, I could see it, but I don't think he would.
Yeah.
So, um, the scenes where Nolan had close calls had me laughing, especially given the comments by the team. Angela and Nyla specifically, then you had Smithy joining in, which was priceless. I'm here for Chenford angst. It's natural for Lucy to spiral. This is a big deal for her career-wise, but I also understand Tim's frustration. Tim was trying to be supportive, and it seems he couldn't win with Lucy. They needed the night apart. Clearly, they're fine. Yeah. I feel
Hmm.
like having the night apart will do them good.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like they're definitely gonna have to talk a lot of things out the next day. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Becky had a few questions, as in, are they gonna reveal the baby's name? And, what's up with Monica? Who is she talking to? And they're excited for the Chenford um part next week because there's the confession and the dance, which is just what we all need after last night's
Yeah.
angst. So,
Assuming that the wedding is at the very end of the episode, because that would make sense. They have to have like some kind of makeup throughout the
Mm-hmm.
episode, unless it's just gonna be like an awkward dance at the
Mm,
wedding. But I hope not, because like their wedding scenes or
yeah.
scenes at all the rookie weddings are always so good
Mm-hmm.
and like memorable. Like we don't want it to be awkward, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. Um, Lily had said, I loved it so much. I missed them. I'm so glad that Aaron's okay. And I need to know who Monica was talking to. I have so many thoughts. I kind of wish they could have gotten somewhere with the dude with the Lambo. Yeah, like they made a point to like mention what all he was doing and
Mm-hmm.
then just didn't really like follow up with that. I guess they did with the hospital thing, but at the same time it was kind
Yeah.
of like, okay, a one and done. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Lisa said the season 6 premiere was amazing. She was surprised to see Tim walk away from the conversation between him and Lucy, before going home. Uh, she didn't like the scene with the clown. Also, same.
Yeah.
I also did not like.
Low key, I thought that he was that Boyd guy. And I was like, that would be too easy.
I
But
didn't
he
even
kind of looked
realize.
like him.
I didn't even realize it was like an actual person because they were so still on the
Yeah.
ground. And until they did the close up, I was like totally convinced. I was like, why are they there? This
Yeah.
is a like look-alike thing. Like I didn't know what the heck I was just so
Yeah.
yeah. Um, sorry, but Lisa did like the scene with Wesley bringing the kids into the station.
Yeah.
Also same. Yeah.
Somehow I missed him pushing Jack in the stroller on the first watch. I was just like so fixated on baby girl
Hmm.
though that I was just like, yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
and so were the other characters too. Like Nyla
Yeah.
was all, like popping over to see the baby and Lucy
Lucy,
made a
yeah.
mad dash. Yeah. Um
Like I even missed to the part of Angela like kind of leaning down to the stroller and like doing something with Jack. I was like, how did I miss all of this last
yeah.
night? Like, yeah, it was
Well,
funny.
Aaron was the cutest though, making little name tags.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That
I
was my
need to
favorite thing.
see Jack wear one
Yes.
just to see it. Like,
Hmm.
yeah. I also saw someone say, someone please give Jack like a talking scene and like maybe
Mm.
he'll share the baby's name that way. That
Oh
would
my
be really
gosh.
freaking cute.
Oh geez. Okay, wait. How old? Oh gosh. How old is Jack then? Is he like
I'm saying he was born at the end of season 3, even though we saw him in season 4. But I mean, that's how like
so like
baby girl was. So
two, 2 or 3?
2 years apart. If you're going by season wise, the rookie timeline, we don't know. So
Oh,
I would go by season. So like he was end of season 3, she was end of season 5,
yeah.
which is so crazy to think that we're in season 6 now. Like
Hmm.
I always feel like it's season 5 still. I'm like, no, it's season 6.
Hmm.
But did you see that video that they had posted today of like, my, how far everyone has come? And it was
Oh,
like 6 years
yes.
ago. I was like, 6 years ago, that's insane to think about.
Hmm. Yeah.
And they were like a mid-season start. So, I mean, it's like
Hmm.
6 years, like early 2024. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Hmm.
any other notes on 601?
I don't think so. I just can't believe we're back, like doing this.
Mm-hmm. Doing new episodes.
Yeah.
And we're hitting episode 100 next week, which is
Yes.
crazy.
Which all
Yeah.
credit goes to Jennifer for that because she meticulously planned it out. No, listen, you deserve the credit because I was like, I don't really understand. Like I wasn't really like I couldn't even see the vision, so to speak, of how
Yeah.
we could,
Yeah.
finagle 8 more episodes of, stuff, but she made it happen.
I
So,
just thought it was fun. It would be a fun thing to do, fun
yeah.
way to like commemorate it. And then the strike kept going on, and I was like, should we keep doing this or not? Because I don't know. But
Hmm.
then it was like real life was happening, and it was kind of like, well, there's not many other like episodes of The Rookie that we can cover from past. I mean, there are, but like at what point do we kind of save those? So
Yeah.
yeah, it was it was
Hmm.
hard because it was like we didn't know how long the strike was going on. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. But
Hmm.
like also say if the strike didn't happen, which I'm glad that it did because, everyone deserves to have what they are owed. But like if it didn't happen, we would have been well into 100 episodes by now. Like
Oh
if
man.
yeah, if they premiered in September.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think that's it
Mhm.
though.
Yeah. Well, you guys can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod underscore, or you can email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. And of course, we are individually on Twitter as well. I'm at Carrie Hyman.
And I'm at jstark804.
And like Jennifer said, next week is our 100th episode where we will be covering 602, aka the Rookie's 100th episode.
It's just fun.
So
It's
yeah,
just fun.
Bailan wedding, although it's
Hmm.
titled The Hammer, which I don't don't really understand. Um,
Yeah.
so but it'll be good.
Yeah.
Um,
It'll be interesting.
yeah,
Action
definitely.
packed for sure.
Hmm.
So,
Yep.
but until then, bye everyone.
Bye guys.
Go get 'em, boo.